Welcome to day 24 of the book The Absolute Law of Karma, written by our Param Pujya Gurudev Pandit Shri Ram Sharma Acharya. We are reading the topic, the relativity of virtues and sins. On many occasions, I have succeeded in reconciling the differences between bitter adversaries by making them understand the triviality of the root cause, which had made a mountain out of a molehill. Such situations arise because of gap in communication. With mutual understanding, sharing of feelings, and objective analysis of each other's expectations, behavior, and psychological background, 90% of estrangements can be amicably resolved. Here Gurudev is trying to tell us that it is always the triviality of the root cause that we overplay or we make a mountain out of a molehill. जिसे कहते हैं तिल का ताड़ बना देना. We make it bigger in our minds than it actually is in the physical real world, and this is the cause of a lot of problems that we face. However, if we are, number one, mutually understanding towards each other's situations, that is, if we are able to put ourselves in each other's shoes, change our perspective, see it from the other person's side. Number two, sharing our feelings. Be very, very honest and transparent about what we feel and why, and objectively analyze. जिसे कहते हैं समीक्षा करना. To really introspect of what we expect out of the other person, what the other person expects out of us, and mutually agree on what is realistic and what is not, and what are the triggers of the anomalies in normal behavior. If someone is getting triggered with anger a lot, probably he or she might have a childhood issue or any psychological issue that he or she has never discussed with anyone, and so on and so forth. So if we're able to do these three things, mutually understand, put ourselves in others' shoes, share feelings, and objectively analyze, introspect what we expect, our own behavior and the backgrounds, then most of our things and issues can be very amicably resolved. That is, very kindly be understood and resolved. In fact, the factors responsible for such estrangements are very minor. We may compare their incidence with the quantity of salt in our food. Salt and pepper themselves are distasteful, but a small quantity of these makes the food palatable. Occasional cooling off of warmth in close relationships is required to break the monotony of life. Given mutual trust, we bounce back into the relationship with deeper understanding and warmth. It has already been discussed that on human birth, the soul brings with it many imperfections and traits of its past lives, including its embodiments in subhuman species. So here, if there will always be day, then we will never realize what the value of daylight and sunlight is. Therefore, a little bit of breaking from the monotonous routine is necessary to realize the real value of that relationship or of that situation. Hence, occasional cooling off in the in the levels of the warmth in the relationship is needed, so as to increase the value of that relationship inside us. The newly born human child is very little qualified to live amongst human beings. It falls asleep any time during the day, keeps awake during nights, soils the clothes, makes loud noises, cries for its biological needs of fondling, food and water. Nevertheless, neither these baby tantrums disturb the household, nor does addition of one more member make the house unlivable. On the contrary, the innocent and immature child becomes a means of entertainment for the family. the morally less evolved persons of the society should be treated in the same way. So here Gurudev is giving an excellent example of how we can be more compassionate, forgiving and loving towards someone who is more childlike in behavior and not as sophisticated or as honest or transparent or morally right in their disposition in the society. Just like we treat a child and we are so generous and always forgiving for anything that he's doing. Therefore, by treating others who are similar in behavior, we can really uplift them. We can instill a lot of self-confidence in them and make them feel good about themselves. For evolutionary soul growth, it is the duty of each enlightened soul to work for the progress of other persons who are at a lower stage of soul growth and encourage them to work for their own upliftment. Wickedness will always be there in this world. There is no reason to be afraid of it. Whosoever is desirous of self-enlightenment should learn to face and overcome the disturbances caused by the wicked. It is necessary to restrain the evil and prevent the beastly traits from polluting humane values. Flies have to be kept away from the sweets. The efficiency of one's karmas is demonstrated in preventing spread of sinful traits in the society. A great deal of caution is required in this endeavor. It is like walking on the razor's edge. This truly is yoga, the skill in works, equanimity in the face of all provocations. So here Gurudev is trying to throw light upon the fact that people who are more self-aware, who are more self-conscious, who are more in touch with their inner self are definitely a bit higher on the journey of spiritual growth, and it is their moral responsibility to inspire others around them to work for their own upliftment. It might happen that such people may come across more wickedness, more meanness, or they might have to face more challenges than others, but they should remember that these are just learnings and teachers in the face of their own spiritual growth, and the efficiency of one's own karmas is going to be put to use, is going to be put to work in face of such adverse situations where they have to not only be compassionate, forgiving and loving to the ones that have been probably causing them some sort of harm, but also have to work and inspire towards the upliftment of those other souls who are probably not as self-aware as they are. Hence, it is the more, just like it said, the more power you have, the more responsibility you have. Therefore, this is truly the skill in the making. This is truly yoga, to be equanimous, to have that samta in your nature, so as to face all challenges, all provocations, all adversaries with immense fortitude, extreme courage, and a lot of grit. What should be our course of action in this world to eliminate evil? The sun sets an example worth emulating. Its light dispels the darkness. Its heat forms the clouds. Clouds bring down rain and cool the heat. When we take food, hunger goes by itself, and when we follow laws of health, weakness is removed without much effort. In order to remove ignorance, try to acquire knowledge. For making the world free of evil, we should work for proliferation of virtues. The proper way for eradication of disease is to educate the masses about the significance of laws of hygiene and health. Just like we know that prevention is better than cure, therefore Gurudev is giving so many examples about how we can eliminate the evil. So to dispel the darkness, we have to light a diya. To dispel ignorance, we have to acquire skills and knowledge. It is not, the law does not say that evil cuts evil, but it is that good over evil, the victory of good over evil. So Gurudev is trying to tell us that how we can only and only eliminate and combat evil in the society or bad sanskars inside us, in our own psyche, by making sure that we remain equanimous, we remain in the state of samta in all adversities. We remain forgiving and compassionate towards those who have even harmed us in any way, and we constantly focus on the virtues or the merits of the other people, and thereby provide them with the path of progress and upliftment for their own selves. The sick do not need the medicines, but hospitals cannot cure the entire society. Law enforcement machinery works like a hospital for the wicked, the morally sick. It takes care only of the contingencies. Law cannot remove the root causes of societal evils. Here Gurudev is trying to say that having accumulated bad karma and reaping the fruits of those bad karmas is like a hospital, like a medicine that will happen or that will be given when something bad has occurred or when something bad has been done. But we should work together to remove the root causes of those societal evils, which is why those bad seeds or bad sanskars were first coming into a soul. What was the reason for that? If we can work towards eliminating that from the source, then a lot can be refined in the society around us. It is not possible to eradicate evil by violence. Violent opposition would only incite a stronger counter-reaction. A surgeon does not act like a butcher. He makes a precise incision. Instead of direct confrontation, blabbing, showing resentment, expressing helplessness, follow the path of forgiveness, reformation, and love. According to a philosopher, a word of love creates much greater impact than a blow on the head. So here Gurudev is again trying to explain us how we cannot eradicate evil by evil, or eradicate violence by violence, or anger by anger. It has to be with love, compassion, refinement, forgiveness that we can combat any evil in the world, because the power of love or the word of love is a far, far more impactful, far more stronger and powerful than the counter violence that we might be originally wanting to answer that with. So thank you for listening in today. Pranam everyone.
हमारे YouTube चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कीजिए और बेल आइकन पर क्लिक कीजिए ताकि आने वाली सभी वीडियो की नोटिफिकेशन आपको मिलती रहे। आप सभी को बहुत बहुत थैंक यू।